Hey y'all, and welcome back to another episode of Catch That. I am Naturally Elise, and that is my bro.
JR.
And today we are welcoming back a very, very awesome guest. He is a historian, a writer, a musical savant. He don't sleep. His name is
Hello,
Dark
y'all.
Adams.
Hey, so I'm glad to be back.
Yes. So JR, I'm gonna have you tell the folks what are we gonna be talking about today and why we wanted to talk about it.
Okay, so if you look in the back, we're gonna be talking about Guy's debut album. And the reason why, because we had Dart on the show before we talked about New Edition, and we said how important 2 days were. June 13th, 1988, and we said June 20th, 1988 were two important days in music. So it's hard with Dart, for real, to talk about stuff with him. Because me and Elise was like, we didn't know where to go with it. We was like, what are we gonna talk about with him? And I was like, let's talk about Guy's first album and how it felt when he first heard it and all that good stuff and the history of it. So I'm excited to talk about this album because this album is very important to me anyway. So I'm ready to go. So this classic debut is what we're gonna talk about. So yeah. So Dart, when you first heard this album, how did it feel? Where were you? Like everything. Yes, please.
So first heard Guy's debut album in June 1988. I first heard it because, of course, luckily, I've explained this before, big sister, 8 years older than me, big brother, 6 years older than me. Mm-hmm. And they were both in college, while I'm in high school. And Boston is a college town. So that means that we have an influx of college students, college parties all the time, and we had a gang of different radio stations. And in the 80s, the beauty of being in a college town with a bunch of college radio stations is they played different genres of experimental music that normal Black radio stations kind of turned their nose up at. So what I'm talking about is they played rap. What I'm talking about is they played a lot of house. They played a lot of experimental music. But what they really specialized in are the Black music forms that were closest to rap and meshed in R&B. So we're talking about the early days of what we now know as New Jack Swing, emerging from like 86 into like 88, when like summer 88 is when everything explodes. And one of the albums that we're talking about today is at the forefront. But the Minneapolis sound was a huge key component. Another one was the sounds of guys like Full Force, who had been a band since like the early 80s and had changed in 84 the sound of R&B, and they were rap producers on the side. So when you look at what like Guy did, you have a guy named Teddy Riley who's a member, but Teddy Riley is also in the group with this dude named Timmy Gatlin, right? But they also have this guy who's been a music industry veteran who's in the background named Gene Griffin, who's behind them. Now, when we talk about Guy and their origins, you have to remember that Teddy Riley was part of a band and part of a group of kids that played music and were around the era of this group of this club called the Rooftop in Harlem, right? And he was part of a band. They had 8 or 9 different pieces, right? And around 1984, 3 of them broke off and signed a record deal with CBS Records. And they named themselves Kids at Work. And in this band, which was produced by Gene Griffin, was Teddy Riley, Timmy Gatling, and another guy named Clarell.
Bam! Oh, right!
Oh, 1984 album. Here's the back.
Yo, Dart, you are the king. I swear. Like, nobody has that on.
Nobody has this album. You know how hard this thing is to find? I was searching for this album for 15 years.
Yeah.
And I kind of given up. I wasn't going to go on Discogs and look for it. So I was like, if I don't find it naturally, then it's not meant to be. I say this to my younger brother. I'm like, if I don't find this damn album, it's not meant to be. I go out and I'm hanging out in Cambridge and I go to this store called Cheapo Records, which I frequented a lot. Everybody in like the hip hop scene, the R&B scene would just go to Cheapo's just to go, right? It's in Central Square. And as I'm going through the R&B aisle, which is right there next to the door, I see this looking back at me with a $5.99 sticker on it. Now, I'm not somebody who, you know, is super emotional on the surface, but I had to temper my emotions. I had to keep it in check to not let anyone know that this should not be anywhere for $5.99 and make sure nobody else is around it. I snatched this up so damn quick. Let me tell y'all something. I've been looking for this album forever.
Holy shit. I didn't even know they did the print anymore. Like,
yes.
what?
So, and by Tim Gatling, Teddy Riley, Clarell Henderson, right? And the production, Gene Griffin, co-producer, Orville Gilchrist, right? Yeah. But this, and then you look at the credits, right? Bass synthesizer, Teddy Riley. Percussion, Teddy Riley. Keyboards and synthesizers, Teddy Riley. Lynn drums, Teddy Riley. And he did everything but the horn section. Chops. Who the hell's Chops? We don't know.
Somebody cousin.
But this album sounds like a New Edition knockoff. The songs sound so New Edition-y. Like if you go on YouTube, all these songs are up. And there's very few songs on here. She's My Baby, Never Hurt Me, Singing Hey Y'all, which everybody will tell you about. Reggae Kids. There's a dub version. Why there's a dub version? You know why? Know why there's a dub version of Reggae Kids?
Wow.
The Dutchie upon the left-hand side. That's why. Because a musical damn youth. All in all, Sugar Baby, She's My Baby dub version. That's the whole album. This album sounds like, if you close your eyes, you'll think that these are songs that New Edition turned down. But this is the beginnings of the group we know as God, right? You got Timmy Gatlin, you got Teddy Riley, you got Clarell, who ends up leaving because he didn't want to be beholden to what Gene Griffin and Teddy Riley did musically. So he goes solo and he releases a single which is written by who? Teddy Gatling, and produced by who?
Teddy Riley.
So these guys are the beginnings of the band we know as God, right? Yeah. They grow up, they don't want to do the knockoff New Edition stuff. They want to do more mature songs. So Timmy Gatling's like, we need a vocalist, we need a real singer, because we can sing, but we need a singer. Same thing New Edition went through when they're like, we need somebody with a mature voice to take us to the next level. And they went out and got, you know, the man, you know, to do that. So they had to go find the man where they were. And Timmy Gatling used to just always go around to different stores. He used to go around to clothing stores and shoe stores. And one shoe store, he ran into this really stylish dude who knew he could sing. That man's name is Aaron Hall. He puts Aaron Hall down with the new group. Now the group needs a name. As I said, Timmy Gatling used to always go around to different stores. He used to always go down to different like spots. Yeah. One store that they used to frequent to get the gear that they wore on the cover of the goddamn album cover is a store called Guy, a clothing store. So Timmy Gatling names the group.
So that's where he got the name from?
Yeah, they didn't really like the name, but they couldn't find a better name. So that's the name they stuck with. So Timmy Gatling is co-writer with Teddy Riley, you know, and Aaron Hall. Yeah. But he'll tell you, it's really my opinion, because when you look at other things, right, you'll see Timmy Gatling's name. Right? And the thing that really got me about when I first heard this album is hearing it and looking at the liner notes and being confused. Now, y'all know where I'm getting at.
Yeah.
You know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
You remember the album cover to the Guy album, right?
Yeah.
You remember the videos for Guy album, for Guy song, right?
Absolutely.
What was wrong What was
It's
the
a little
disconnect?
different. It's a little different.
What was the disconnect? What was the disconnect? You're looking at the album, you're reading the liner notes, and you're seeing the videos. You're like, wait, hold on. There's something wrong here. For one thing, why is Timmy Gatling on the cover? Timmy Gatling's a co-writer of these songs. Timmy Gatling's singing one of the songs, one song on lead. He ain't in none of the videos. He ain't in none of the personal appearances. And when they did shows,
They did a Destiny's Child.
what the hell happened? What happened to Timmy Gatling?
And you watch the video, you're like, wait a minute. Where's Latavia? Where's no announcement, no nothing.
Nothing. No announcement. Nobody said nothing. So it took a minute for me to realize that I got my I'll Be Sure tape. And I look at my I'll Be Sure tape. And I'm looking at the liner notes for the I'll Be Sure tape. You know, at the time of the tape, you unfurl it. And I'm looking, and there's a song, If I'm Not Your Lover, If I'm Not Your Friend. Who's it written by? Timmy damn Gatling. And I'm like, wait. So Timmy Gatling wrote a gang of these songs on this Guy album, which is jamming. And he wrote this song on I'll Be Sure's album that's jamming. But there's a song on that Guy album I mentioned previously is sung by Timmy Gatling, the only song he sings lead on. And when you listen to that song, something stands out about it instantly. This song sounds like it was written for someone else.
Yep.
Oh, you talking about that song? I'm thinking of something else. Yeah.
Yeah. We're not there yet.
Sorry, I jumped ahead.
We're not there yet. I know where you're going to leave. We're not there. Let Doc paint the picture, please. Thank you.
So that song is a jam. Like everybody who first heard the album, like that was a song that people were pulling out. Like this should be a single. It ain't gonna be a single, and we didn't know why. Also, we didn't know where was Timmy Gatling, and the person who replaced Timmy Gatling is actually Aaron Hall's younger brother, Damien, which had us like, he ain't on the album cover, but he in the videos. He's not a writer, but he in the videos. He's doing the live performances, but his vocals ain't on the album.
Like, so, where's Latoya?
Yeah.
Where they at?
So ultimately, we find out why You Can Call Me Crazy is on the album. You Can Call Me Crazy was the other song that Timmy Gatling wrote for I'll Be Sure that he didn't accept for the album.
Yep. Because is this true that the first verse is I'll Be Sure? Or
there are I'll Be Sure vocals on the song.
Throughout, yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, I know he.
That's how you sound too.
It is a reference track. It is pretty much a reference track that made the album. Okay. And the confusion abound. Hold on a second. This song's on the album. This song jams. This is a song people want you to play at the function. This is a song that people put on their mixtape and associate with Guy. Did they perform this live? And I would ask around. I was like, yo, you've been to them doing a show. They do Groupie 3 times. I'm like, that's seriously? But okay. Now
it's so funny, that song, I like that song back then. It's almost unlistenable for me now.
I don't like it now.
Like I only listen to it because I needed to listen to it to talk about it, but so it don't jam. But it used to jam for me, but it don't anymore.
I have a theory on why. Because
yes, help me out, Dark, because I want to know why.
I've heard of this thing. This is a real thing. I ain't made this up. I didn't come up with this. This is a real thing called Groove Me Fatigue. Okay, let me listen.
I'm with you.
June, July 1988. just the end of the school year. This is when the parties start ramping up. But also, again, living in Boston, I live in South End, Lower Roxbury, which is home to like 5, 6 different college campuses. One of them being Northeastern University. I remember as a kid going to functions thrown on the quad at Northeastern by the Black Greeks. It's by random people. WRBB was also a radio station around there, so they used to throw stuff. And whenever the party used to wind down, they would play these songs multiple times. They would play Tony's Little Walter.
Oh, yeah.
They would play Johnny Kemp's Just Got Paid. They would play Dougie Fresh and the Get Fresh crew, Keep Rising to the Top. They would play Groove Me. Right? So you would hear like sometimes they throw on the right stuff, right? Because it was just hot, wow, it's high energy, you know? Or like they throw on some EPMD. You Got to Chill was the hot song back then. If It Isn't Love, you know, people start doing the dance routine, you know what I'm saying, shit like that. But Mamacita by Troop was also hot at the time. But the go-to songs, the absolute go-to songs were Groove Me and Just Got Paid. Like if the party ramped down, if the energy was dying, they threw that on, everybody would run to the dance floor. So, and then it was like the big song to the point where when they didn't have a whole lot of songs, but early on when they did shows, that was what everybody wanted to hear, you know? Because don't get me wrong, The Merry-Go-Round of Love is a cool song, but that's not necessarily what you want to hear when they're just now coming out and everybody want to dance in the summer, you know? That's when you're on tour later, you know?
Yeah.
So people want to hear Groove Me. So they ran Groove Me into the ground. And that's where Groove Me fatigue comes from. And also back in '88, man, we used to dance really, really hard. Non-stop. All the time.
Y'all was sweating like what?
My sides are hurting just thinking about we're gonna throw on JJ Fad Supersonic. Ow.
But you know, we did used to dance hard because I think my high school and college days, that was the 90s. So we danced hard and wild. Like
yes. Elbows.
Yeah, it was a whole lot of flailing, you know?
Yeah. And the thing was that it was also precision. So you could do the running man in one place, turn around, do the running man opposite direction, turn around, and you still doing this space. Just this space. You ain't bumping into nobody, nothing. Doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do that now.
It was a wild time.
Wait a minute. So is that why? Because wasn't Merry-Go-Round the first single, right?
Yes, but do y'all remember that?
Yes. You know why? Because I was just talking to Mom maybe a couple of days ago because she knew we was talking about this. And she was like, I remember Merry-Go-Round being the first single. But she was like, it was cool because it kind of felt like a little bit of what Keith Sweat was doing. But once we heard Groove Me, when we heard the album, we was like, we want that. We want that. And all of a sudden, she was like, she knew that was the next single. So I didn't know if that was true or not. Because I was like, that was the first single? Because if you could ask me, I was like, well, Groove Me, the first single. That's what I thought.
What's funny is that when I went back, because I did a piece about Guy's first album for a few years ago. And when I went back to do research, I discovered there was a video from Merry-Go-Round of Love, but it was a remix and Damien's playing drums. I'm like, what the hell?
Crazy Leg playing drums.
He's playing the pads like this. I'm like, what the hell is he doing over there? What's he doing there? And Gene Griffin's in the video with a light-skinned girl on a merry-go-round. I'm like, get the hell out this video, Gene. You gotta be every damn where, Gene. And of course, that was one of the big issues with the group dynamic of Guy. And I didn't find this out till later. Of course, I didn't. It was very NWA how everything happened. Timmy Gatling was Ice Cube. He went to management, was like, I don't like how y'all doing X, Y, and Z. I don't like this paperwork. I don't know why all of a sudden Gene gotta be all up in the videos dancing. When we put this band together, yes, doing the shoulder. When we put this band together, it was me and you. We've known each other since 11 years old. Yep. It was me and you, and I brought in Aaron to do that shit. I brought in Aaron.
Yeah, he did.
I named this group. But all of a sudden, when we went to Andre Harrell and we signed the paperwork, now Gene want to be more vocal. Now Gene want to put his name as co-writer and co-producer on everything.
And ain't do shit.
He ain't do shit.
Nothing.
Not a day and twist a knob. He ain't push a broom. He ain't do shit.
Nothing. That's how I'm like, what? And Teddy just talked about it in his Uncensored. Yeah.
Yes. So he's like, first of all, we wrote the songs. We were in the studio. Why is Gene's name on everything? And ultimately what happened, they do the photo shoot or whatever, but shortly afterwards, Timmy's like, I'm out. But Tim's also writing for other people. Tim also was getting a solo deal.
Yeah.
But the thing is that he's getting all this off the strength of the popularity of the Guy album.
Of Guy, yep.
And yes, Group Me is a big song, but Guy was a monster. Once the train started moving, it didn't stop. Single after single after single. Yep. Let me tell you, you already know, but let me just talk about the difference of the album cycle back in the day.
Okay.
This album comes out June 13th, 1988, before New Edition, before Bobby Brown. Mm-hmm. After albums like Troops album drop, after I'll Be Sure's album drop, after Tony drops Who, you know?
Yes.
And the thing is about this album is that, yes, it comes out in June 1988. It doesn't become the #1 R&B album or the Black music charts until spring 1989. When it's on its
ask you about that. Thank you. Keep going.
When it's on its like third, fourth single.
Yeah.
You know, like I Like is a single. I Like. And the thing is that this album won't die. It won't die. But also think about all the other albums that came out in June '88. Paula Abdul's album.
Yep, Forever Your Girl.
Forever Your Girl has a lifespan, has a half-life, you know? Yep. Bobby Brown's Don't Be Cruel is still blowing up in '89. So all this classic music, and then you think about like before that, you got Keith Sweat. Keith Sweat lived right around the same area they did.
Yeah, from Harlem, yeah.
So it's crazy because they supposedly lived in like a 5-6 block radius from each other.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's making hits, everybody's making jams, and Timmy is just giving everybody, you take that. You take that.
Man.
Here, you take that.
You know what's so funny? When the I Like 12-inch is Damien on the front and Timmy.
Oh shit!
Oh my god!
Wow!
That's insane, ain't it?
Cause and Timmy did like an interview maybe a couple of years ago, and he said they actually had a deal with Tommy Boy.
Yeah.
So and he was like, "Yo, but he said Andre Harrell always outbids people, and he outbid him. So we told Tommy Boy we were gonna sign with them, but we decided." So he was like, Gene tried to act like he was this guy that just got us this deal and we got it with Uptown and he did all this. It was like me and Teddy got the deal with Tommy Boy before you even thought about it. So it was like him being a part of this, like Gene being a part of this. It's funny to me. Like, and like y'all say, he all up in the videos. He's on the writing credits. Like when I looked, I was like, how is he on this? Like, he wasn't in there in Teddy's house, Mama's house with them at all. But he's all over the album though. I'm like, how does this happen? But again, that's how Sean does it now. So I mean,
I'm gonna say he's the blueprint for.
he's the blueprint for Sean. Yep. Say it, sis. I said it for you. Yep.
I mean, when you look back at the Guy album, right? Like it kind of laid a foundation for what to do when you have your album, right? Yeah. It has the up-tempo songs, it has the ballads, and it has a mix and the sequencing. You know, don't dance, just clap your hands. You know, you look at where these songs are in the album, right? And you're just like, oh, okay, that's what I need to do. You Can Call Me Crazy is the song that people jam to that they don't really perform, but it's on the album in a place that heightens the playability of the record, right? Right. And then how it closes, like how the album closes, even is like, okay, because there's nothing worse than when you have an album where you skip songs to get to that song you do like. Right. Or you skip the song to get to the other song you like. Right. As opposed to, I like these 4 songs on the album the most, but it's the way the album is sequenced, I want to let it play through so it naturally hits them. That's what Guy's album did. And that's why Guy's album had the staying power that it did on the charts. And it's weird because usually when an album does that and it's still around like that, it crosses over. And I don't feel that Guy's album really crossed over. It didn't. It kind of spread amongst the community, which is crazy. Because if you go gold and then maybe platinum with just Black folks with an album that's around for like 18 months, that is a unique situation. Like
it's called your Freddie Jacksoning.
Yes.
True.
Very few.
To where you went platinum with your people.
Yes, very few rap albums have been able to do that. Maybe I think an early example is, Dana Dane with Fame by Dana Dane. That's an album that had an 18-month shelf life and like chart life, but it didn't really cross over. You know, it just went gold with us. So what Guy did was amazing because the album became more and more cemented in what you would expect from an album. And Guy got more and more cemented as a group. But what it really did was it gave Teddy Riley that name and that power when he already kind of had it. But after 88, it was cemented. And it happened for Timmy Gatling too, because every time a new single came out, blew up, Timmy's like, I wrote that.
Right.
You know, like I wrote that.
That's true. Because I was gonna ask you, Dart, like, do you feel with Teddy, if Teddy wouldn't have never been in the group, do you think his career would have been what it was? Do you think this album kind of cemented him as the Teddy Riley that we know today? Because of course we know he did stuff for, of course, Dougie Fresh and all that, and then he did the stuff for Keith Sweat, of course, and then he was doing all that other stuff. But do you think him being in the group actually helped him in a way, kind of catapult him, especially as good as this album was and how good it did? Because I'm like, if this album would have never happened, could Teddy be what he was anyway?
No, I think that one of the most important components is that Teddy's on the cover.
Right.
Teddy's on the cover. Teddy's in the video. Teddy's on vocals. They're saying his name. There's a song called Teddy's Jam on the album. Teddy Jam for me now.
And look,
Teddy ain't singing on the damn song. Aaron's singing about Teddy.
That's what Aaron said.
It ain't. Teddy got like he wanted to be the group. He know he wanted to be on the cover. This old flashy Harlem nigga who is very particular about his looks.
Facts.
Yeah.
Because Aaron
he
was
needed
like,
to be there. He was meant to be.
Aaron was like, nigga, you got a song.
Power.
Right.
You know, he just has star power. He has the it.
Right. And like Aaron said, Teddy, he like, nigga, you got a song named Teddy's Jam, and the only thing you doing on it is yep, yep. Nigga, I'm singing the shit. and you playing the keyboard, but I'm singing this shit.
Like think about the insanity where people are dancing to Teddy's Jam, and the vocals are Aaron's "Whoa Jam."
That's one of my favorite songs like ever.
Teddy's Jam, Teddy's Jam, Jam. You're like, wait, hold on. Dum dum today.
That's why I kind of sometimes I know I'm a very lyrical person, but sometimes I just want to jam. And Teddy's Jam is one of my favorite songs. Just
Isn't it weird, right?
In that era.
There's a Groove Me fatigue, but I don't think there's Teddy's Jam fatigue. Mm-mm. And the crazy thing too is that when Teddy's Jam 2 comes out, it kind of feels like it's overdone. It kind of feels like it's overproduced in a sense.
You sound like Brian. You sound like Brian
overproducing
right now.
I feel like
Teddy overproducing? That's just preposterous. What are you talking about?
So think about I remember the first time I heard Back Dance, and I think it jams, but I'm like, Prince is doing a little too much. And I felt the same way when I heard Teddy's Jam 2. Now, crazy thing is that when you listen to Teddy's Jam, Teddy using everything but the kitchen sink, but it doesn't feel like he's overdoing it. Maybe because there's this newness of Teddy's just gonna go ham. But once you've heard Teddy go ham on like 20 singles and you get to the next Guy album, The Future, you're like, all right, Teddy, you didn't have to, take your shoes off and play both keyboards with your feet, and your elbow with the third one. And that's kind of what it felt like. It jammed, but it was like, it wasn't the same.
Play with this.
Don't forget the elbow.
Yeah. The elbow. But like that first Guy album.
Yeah.
That first Guy album is amazing. It's a classic. It's going to stand the test of time. A Piece of My Love. Like there are songs that had 4 to 6 month lives as singles.
Yeah.
That's hard to do in Black music in 88 and 89 when it was so competitive. Let me do something.
Because like 87, 88, like no one really held number one spots on singles for long. It's like 1 week, 2 weeks. Like the only one past that was like holding it for a significant time would be anytime Freddie Jackson put out a single. But otherwise, 1 week, 2 weeks.
So let's talk about how crazy.
It was tough out there.
It was extremely tough. Like I'm looking at 89, right? 88. The 88 number one Billboard albums, right? You got Bad, Characters, All I Love by Gladys Knight and Pips, Make It Last Forever, Keep Sweat, Bad Again, Introducing the Hardline by Terrence Trent D'Arby, Faith George Michael for like months, In Effect Mode, I'll Be Sure, months, Strictly Business EPMD, 3 weeks, Bobby Brown, Don't Be Cruel, 2 weeks, Takes the Nation and Millions Older Back, 1 week, Don't Be Cruel, 2 more weeks, Don't Let Love Slip Away by Freddie Jackson, 1 week, Don't Be Cruel, 2 months, Giving You the Best That I Got, 1 week, In Love, Luther Vandross, 2 weeks, Giving You the Best That I Got comes back for 2 more months. That's just 88, right? And so you think about that. Guy was not going to be able to wrest the charts, the top of the charts from Anita Baker, Karen White, Bobby Brown, Don't Be Cruel comes back in March 1989, right? MC Hammer, Let's Get It Started, April 8th, 1989. Guy, April 15th, 22nd, 29th, and May 6th of 1989. The album came out in June 1988, right? Slick Rick comes back, takes it back from him. Guy comes back. And do you know who knocks Guy off the top of the charts and holds it for the next 2 months? De La Soul, 6 Feet High and Rising. 3 Feet High and Rising.
Yeah.
Like that album was released in like early February 1989, not March like they say, early February 1989. And it's top of the charts from May 27th.
I love that he did that little shit right there.
And it holds the top of the charts from May 27th, 1989 to June 24th, 1989. And Guy, that album is just so special and it's so iconic and it's a seminal R&B classic now because it ushered in the changeover, right? Where the aesthetic of R&B, which was being controlled by a bunch of old, angry Black folks who also controlled Black radio, and to a degree, like the publications that wrote about Black music, they were very resistant to R&B that sounded too rappy.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And I don't have a better name for it. R&B that sounded too much like rap.
Yep.
They were kind of shying away from it. And when Summer 88 happened, they just had to get on board because it's where the future was going. And they couldn't fight it anymore. And Guy's album, it was beautiful in the sense that it took the sounds of the street, but it also harkened back to the R&B that your mama and your grandmama and your uncle and your daddy and your grandpa still could all enjoy.
Yep.
Like you could play a ballad off that Guy album and they're not gonna be like, all right, I don't like this devil music you brought into the house.
Facts.
No.
Yeah.
And it had good writing on it.
Yes. Thanks, Timmy Gatling.
Like I like that's
And that's what I don't like about the whole thing with this album, that people try to disregard Timmy so much. And I get it because what the mainstream did, they pushed Damon to us. It was like, okay, he's a part of the group, whatever. But Timmy wrote the hell out of these songs. Like, y'all cannot, but he was like, I got my publishing though. Hi, Gene. But he's like, I got my publishing. Because he was like, I wrote this shit. Like, you're not going to take the shit that I wrote on my own and act like it was yours. You know what I mean? And I just hate when mainstream do that. It's like, y'all, this is what's presented. And it's like, Timmy is the one that wrote this shit. He's on the album cover. Like, come on. Like,
But part of it is, like, it's not so much that a lot of people were disregarding him. They just didn't really, really know. It was a lot of like, kind of smoke and mirrors. And I mean, your average music person, they don't know who wrote their song they love.
That's
like your lay person, they don't know that. Or they just know kind of the major songwriters. They be like, oh, Babyface, oh this. But past that, they don't really know those songwriters. That's why we have shows like these. Yeah.
Think about that that next Keith Sweat album coming out, lead single, Timmy wrote that, Like, you think about all these hits, all these songs that people know, it was like Timmy Gatling's name's on it, And Timmy Gatling was just getting so much work. Like, it's got to the point where, like, Bell Biv DeVoe were like, yo, we need a ballad.
When will Timmy I see you again? Yes, sir.
He's like, where Timmy at? Timmy's like, here. That's a hit too? Oh man, I wrote another hit.
And right, that's a hit. Like, oh, I'm out the group. My pen is deadly. I can give it to other people. Like, this is nothing for me.
And I got a fucking tour.
What gotta do for the rest of his life is go to his mailbox.
Yeah,
right.
I ain't got a fucking tour. I ain't gotta have people all in my business.
Yes.
Hey, dog, did he write Promises?
It's a better deal to me. Did what?
Promises by Keith Williams. I mean Keith
Christopher Williams.
He did write for Christopher Williams.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, I pull out.
Yeah. Because that was the other assignment he had. He wrote for it was Christopher Williams. I think he did a song for Stephanie Mills.
Yes, he did.
He did Bell Biv DeVoe. Yep. And then there was this group called Something Gent that he was, I think, a part of or something. But because yes, Low Gent, I think. Okay. But you said earlier that they originally had a deal with Tommy Boy. So when he got his solo deal, he went back to Tommy Boy like, my bad. I'll take that deal that you gave them.
Oh, so he did go back to Tommy Boy. Okay.
He went back to Tommy Boy for a solo deal. But what's crazy about that solo album is that people talk about that solo album like there's jams on here, but he was spreading himself thin because the popularity of Guy and the popularity of the songs that hits he wrote for other people had him so in demand that he didn't focus on his own album like that. So like there's like 3 songs on that album where you're like, yeah, this should have been pushed, this should have blown up. But he even admits it. It's like I was hyping up the stuff I did for other people. I didn't even promote my own album. You know, I couldn't. And the thing is that Tommy Boy, like people look at Tommy Boy and they're like, Tommy Boy had the capability to put out superstars and to sustain superstars. But Tommy Boy wasn't going to push you out and say you're the superstar. Tommy Boy's going to put you out and it kind of climbs on its own. And then Tommy Boy pushes you over. Tommy Boy wasn't going to be the thing that pushed you out there and said superstar. They didn't do it with anybody. They didn't do it with De La Soul. They didn't do it with Naughty by Nature. They didn't do it with House of Pain. They lucked out. And then it just got to the point where Tommy Boy had so many hit makers.
Yeah.
Queen Latifah, like they just had fallen just out the sky. It was like our roster. They were just like, we don't have to do shit.
Yeah. And speaking back to Timmy, what he did for Christopher Williams, actually, he was behind the 2 hits off of that album, which was Talk to Myself, and he played all the instruments in Promises.
Oh, yes. So he did do Promises. Okay.
Yeah.
So he produced the singles.
Wow.
At the time, I think Timmy was working with Alton Wokey Stewart too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Wokey went solo. So he was working with him on his stuff too. So Timmy
was eating during the time that freaking guy was huge. He like, well, I'm eating. I might not be in the group, but I'm still eating because I'm in demand because I wrote these songs.
Yeah, because the Christmas stuff, that was 89.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And he's on the 2 songs that did something.
Yeah. So it's crazy when you think about that. And then like you look at Teddy. So when you look at the group dynamic, right?
Yeah.
You have Aaron Hall, who was brought in, but Aaron went along with a lot of stuff that happened because he's the last guy to come in, and he's been looking to be a star forever. The man was working in a shoe store.
Yeah.
Before Timmy showed up and brought him to Teddy Riley. Hey, ain't you the dude that produced the song that I hear all the time? Ain't you the dude that wrote the songs that I hear all the time? And don't y'all know that dude who was working at the call center who now is grinding on everybody? Like, Keith, like, if all these motherfuckers are stars, I'm next. And I'm going to stay in this. And I'm going to do whatever is necessary to not lose it. So when the power struggles came up in the group, Aaron was pretty much neutral because he was just like, I just need to be in this video. I need to be on the radio. And I need this album to do well because I need to go on tour and I need to be around because I'm looking around and Timmy working. Teddy's working. Right. And he just brought his little brother along for the ride just to dance in the videos, you know? Crazy legs. And not really do the vocals, but it doesn't matter because when the video come around, that's when we see Crazy Legs, you know, really, you know, show his contribution to the group because performance-wise, it's what he added to the group.
They needed that bad.
They did.
Because you know, Aaron can't, he can't dance really, and yeah.
And I didn't think Timmy had any swag. Like, I'm sorry. In my opinion, I feel like Timmy didn't have the swag. I think, you know, Damian brought the swag to the group as far as performance-wise.
Yes.
And
you know what I mean?
the look of the group.
Yeah, it made it better, too.
Yes, absolutely.
Because even on this guy cover, Timmy kind of looked like he going to church and the other 2 going to the club.
So, have you ever seen the cover of Timmy Gatlin's album, Help?
No.
Oh, look that up and you will be like, wait, what just happened here? It looks like I just got my publishing check. That's what the cover of Help looks like. It looks exactly like I just got my first big publishing check.
Oh, no, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
Oh, no, he did.
And the fact that Joe never saw the cover says everything about the promotion of the album.
It does. It really does. And he really got himself on some Gucci luggage in front on the side of a car.
Do you know the first time I saw the cover of Timmy Gatlin's album Help?
When?
2 weeks after I found this in the same place. I was like, oh shit, he had a solo album? I didn't even know he had a solo album. I promise you. I saw it and I said, it said help. And I looked at the cover and I'm like, look like you don't need any. Look, you're doing all right.
Them publishing checks, like you said, was coming through. Like from oh wow.
Yeah.
I never saw the cover of it.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Hey, me neither. And you're talking to somebody who has New Edition's entire court case on paper. You know, the entire court case. I have this. This is mine.
So, Dar, could you imagine if this album, Guys, New Edition, and Bobby would have came out the same day?
I think that had that happened,
yeah,
MCA would have how MCA Records doesn't own half of North America is a mystery to me, because they didn't put out I'll Be Sure's In Effect Mode, but that logo Uptown damn sure is there because they had their hands in what I'll Be Sure was doing. When you look at the seminal, the classic, the iconic R&B albums of the era, and think about how many of them were MCA records. And I'm not talking about just from the 80s going into the 90s. That MCA logo is on so many classic albums and so many albums that generated revenue and so many albums that changed the conversation and affected how people made music going forward. It moved the culture. Uptown, I used to joke around, big video game fan. I have an arcade cabinet in my room. I used to joke around that I always wanted to see, because they did the Def Jam fighting game. I wanted to see like a Marvel versus Capcom game, like Def Jam versus Uptown.
Yeah.
Because it was always felt to me like it was Def Jam and Uptown MCA for the hearts and minds of the community and the soul and the music, right?
Yeah.
Because Andre Harrell was rolling with Rush before he went off and started Uptown MCA, you know? So it was always Andre and them versus, you know, everybody in the Def Jam office. I won't say Voldemort the rapist's name. So, because that dude should be under 8 jails. Under. But it was always Uptown MCA and Def Jam for like the culture. And one of the albums that, you know, was the force behind this came out in June 1988. And it came out the week before. You know, if they both came out the same day, I feel like they would have done the same, because all of these albums, again, had an 18-month to 24-month, like, run.
Life, yeah.
That's nuts to all happen at the same time. And I mean, Keith Sweat's first album had the same thing. Keith Sweat's first album came out in 87, and people were still playing it in 89, early 89.
Yeah.
You know? So it's
and these were short ass albums too.
Yes, these albums ain't like over 45 minutes. These albums are sometimes between 30 something and 40 minutes. But that adds to the playability. That adds to the replay factor to me, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
when you play it, like it ain't over. No, it is over.
Yes. Also, like, think about, along with these albums, you got Terrence Trent D'Arby's album, you got George Michael's album, you got Jody Watley's first then second album. Yes. You know, we already talked about Paula Abdul. That album, Forever Your Girl, was forever on the charts. You know, like the first single was Knockout.
You forgot me now.
Like, damn. Like, that song was just getting played on Black radio. You know, that shit did not cross over. I remember when that video was getting played on BT and Alvin Jones was playing it first on Video Vibrations. You know?
Video. Oh, Oh,
And
Now the song in my head.
yes, and Guy was in the middle of that entire, transition. And as Guy gets more popular, it's crazy because when we look at like, all right, this album comes out summer 88. Summer 89 is what soundtrack? What movie? Do the Right Thing, right?
Do the Right Thing. Yep. Yeah.
Do you remember the big single, the other big single, well, the other big single off the Do the Right Thing soundtrack? Because the big single was Fight the Power, but the other big single was My Fantasy.
My Fantasy, yes.
Which
yes.
was billed as Teddy Riley featuring Guy.
Featuring Guy. I never understood that. But that was nothing but Gene. That was nothing but Gene. Nothing but Gene. Because I never got it. I was like, what? He's in the group. How does this work? I was like, uh-oh.
Mm-hmm. Uh-oh. And Gene did it to himself, man. But you know what? Ultimately, Gene was just like, I don't need you. I got other stuff working. Like he had Today, which he also pissed them off, But Today is crazy because when you look at Today, they had jams, right?
Yes, they did.
Jams, anthems. And he brought them to MCA kind of in the same sense. But you look at who did what in the credits.
Big Bub.
And you're like, wait, Gene? This is Gene sound? But what happened with Guy? And when you hear the next Guy album, you're like, but Gene ain't on this next Guy album. But when Gene's name ain't on stuff no more, it doesn't get worse. It doesn't sound worse. It doesn't sound like we're missing Gene. That never happens. So that first Guy album, so much with it, man. From the album cover, the art, the writing credits, the performance of the album, the sequencing, the sound, the singles, the life that it had, what it springboarded the members into. That album turned Aaron Hall into the R&B superstar he always wanted to be.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
Aaron Hall ended up influencing so many other R&B artists in the late 80s and early 90s, including another one we will not name for similar reasons to the first time I said it.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
That man cloned everything Aaron Hall was doing early on in his career.
And his brother was so nice on a Vlad interview that he did.
Yes.
He was nice about it, but he was like, my brother really didn't care, but we all looked at it like, hell no. This is a complete clone of what the hell Aaron was doing. He took, because Aaron was the nasty man.
Nasty man.
Period. And then all of a sudden, this other dude come out and doing the same style as Aaron with the cane and all that. I was like, wait a minute.
Same look, everything. Same styling.
The outfits. What's crazy too is that when Aaron Hall became the featured vocalist on songs throughout the 90s, that was super influential too. Like, you listen to his vocals on like the Do Me Right remix, right? But then he is the guy on everything. He's the guy on everything. When MC Hammer has to do the Pumps and the Bump remix, who does Hammer call? Bring those pumps, baby. Bring those pumps, baby. Bring those pumps, baby. When Eric Sermon needs vocals on a song, who does he call? Aaron Hall.
Aaron.
You are welcome. And you and you and you and you. Like, we used to joke that Eric Sermon must have had something on Aaron Hall. Or Aaron Hall, because at the time Eric Sermon owned a rim spot. It was Peachtree Motoring or something like that in Atlanta. And I think Aaron Hall relocated to Atlanta too. And it was like, he must have an outstanding debt because he has him on call. Anytime he wanted some vocals, Aaron Hall, hey, oh, wait, on Bomb Diggy. I'm like, what the? How is he getting Aaron Hall at a moment's notice? Like, Jesus Christ, what is going on? But Aaron Hall, again, was like the prototype for a lot of like singers that came up in that era.
Yeah.
But you know who you listen to guy albums, who you could tell Aaron Hall who he loved the most?
Mm-hmm.
Charlie fucking Wilson.
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And for them to
they
actually
do a
finally
cover,
do a song with each other too on the Boomerang joint, it was like, well, finally. I mean, the swag came from Charlie, but somebody said that they felt like, I don't know if y'all feel this way. That's why I'm asking y'all. Do y'all feel like Aaron had a little bit more range than Charlie?
I think that what it is that Charlie knew where his bread was buttered, so to speak, because he was more seasoned and he was like, I'm gonna stay here. Whereas Aaron was coming in and he was just like, I want to be the man, so I'm gonna go from here to here. Whereas Charlie could probably go here, but Charlie's like, we're gonna keep it here at the most, because this is where I know I'm the most effective. And it's funny because yes, he's highly influenced by Charlie Wilson. And it's funny because I would have conversations with people and they would listen to like Pharrell Williams, not realizing that Pharrell Williams' vocals were also inspired by, you know, a mix of Charlie Wilson and homie who sings Superfly, you know, Curtis Mayfield. You know, it's like mix, right?
Oh yes.
Like it's a Charlie Wilson and a Curtis Mayfield mix. But like, because it's also a thing where could Pharrell possibly sing better? Maybe. But when Pharrell's trying to give you a track, he knows to stay in here with it. And the thing that people don't realize too is that a lot of songs that are hits are reference tracks at the base, right? Because You Can Call Me Crazy is pretty much a reference track for I'll Be Sure, right? When you hear a lot of songs with vocals on them that Pharrell did, he was trying to sell that to somebody else. He was like, I'll keep it.
Every time you mention I'll Be Sure, it triggers JR. He gets upset.
Hey, I'll Be Sure should trigger people, man. Because
thank you, Doc. Thank you.
It's a weird dynamic with I'll Be Sure, right? Because I'll Be Sure, that first album is Lightning in a Bottle. Him and Kyle West came Sony Innovators, came up with the sound, and then Al was just like, I need to sell this, bottle this, and sell this to the world. And then Al became an in-demand producer, writer himself. And as you know, Al was very instrumental in Jodeci's career. He was very instrumental in what happened with Tevin Campbell. Right? I would
rather him be a writer than a singer.
Well, I said that on another show. I was like, why couldn't I said I wish some of that he could have gave to to other people, because they're great songs. But then you get that vocal, you're like, fuck, you know?
Yeah. Like Private Times and the Whole Nine, I don't really remember the album. I own it. I don't really remember it. Good. Sexy Verses, I have almost no recollection of that album. I remember being on MTV Jams, introducing Fade to Black. I don't remember the album. I remember the shit he wrote for other people. I remember the stuff he produced for other people. I don't remember his album.
No, I don't. God is good. That's why you don't remember. That's why. Because I just can't do Al for so long. And that's why I can't do You Can Call Me Crazy. Because it sounds like an I'll Be Sure record. And I'm like,
it's like Rescue Me.
That you did say that. Yes. It's
interesting.
Like,
to me.
What's crazy too is that was one of my favorite songs on Guy's first album, right? Like I used to rewind that tape and play it. My sister got the CD. So that's another dynamic too, right? What changes with albums when you have to fast forward and rewind versus just skip a track on a CD or just go back once? It changes how you listen to it. It changes like the psychology of listening to it. And that first Guy album is the album it is because a lot of us had it on cassette. Some people had it on vinyl. They
I
had
just
it
purchased
on
my vinyl today.
vinyl. And that changes the dynamic too, because you're not gonna pick up the needle and skip songs.
Nope.
You know, like let me go over all these grooves. I don't want to hear this shit.
Nope.
Do you know how much you have to hate a song to skip it on vinyl?
Yeah, like it gotta be bad.
Bad. Ugh. Like, no. That's the so okay, you went there, dog. If there's an album that you could take off the album, what would it be? A song that you could take off the album if you had to.
Of the first Guy album. This is an interesting question, man.
You be quiet, at least.
Let me think. What song? Okay. I Like has to be there. Round and Round. Spend the Night has to be there. Goodbye Love. You know what?
Has to be there.
My Business.
I'm leaving.
Does not need to
I'm
be on there
leaving.
into the
I'm
album.
leaving. I'm not
My
talking
business
about anymore.
The
I'm
album
done.
ends.
I
The
am
album ends my
done.
song.
Why are you done? Why do you like that song so much?
Song, y'all,
It's
because
so thin,
and I'm gonna explain why.
and the vocal sucks.
I'm gonna explain why. Because the album is jumping so much. You need to end it with something smooth like that. Like you've been
Like that, but not that.
but you've been sweating like crazy. Groove Me, Teddy's Jam, Spend the Night. You
Okay.
can call,
Well, they needed to put a better song on there with that tempo. It
why
doesn't
would
change.
that be better? That's and then you got
No. You're not listening. You're not being reasonable. You're being irrational. It's okay.
Oh
I'm
my
used to
God.
it.
No, I'm not. Oh, go ahead.
I didn't say it didn't need to end with that kind of tempo and that flavor of song, but that song is not good. It's just what
So
how is
like
it not good?
I just told you why it's not good. I always explain why I don't like songs.
That song is all right, y'all. Like it's not a bad song to me.
it's
Like,
not
at
a bad
all.
song. It is not a bad song, but when you listen to the entire album, right? And like, okay, the other song that didn't really do it for me is like Round and Round, Merry Go Round to Love, even though like the tempo works and like when it gets like into it and at the end, it redeems itself.
Jay
Right?
was gonna make sure he put that one on because he's like,
Yes.
I co-wrote that. So that
Yes.
was going
And it
on.
shows.
It shows. And but like if you end the album with Goodbye Love, to me, it harkens back to remember when Janet Jackson ended with Funny How Time Flies.
Right.
And that album is under 10 tracks, right?
Yeah.
And My Business is cool. It's under 4 minutes. It's a good tempo, but like if My Business didn't exist, it wouldn't affect the sales of this album. It wouldn't affect the way people feel about it, and it wouldn't even affect the sequencing. Like the only reason Round and Round, Merry Go Round, the Love works is because it's between I Like and Spend the Night on the second side.
Right.
If you put it on the first side,
It fucks
you
up the
got some
album.
issues.
Yeah.
You put on the
yeah.
first side, I'm gonna lift my needle up and skip the
See, that's why My Business works at the end of the album, because nobody ever complains about, oh, this album ends with My Business, because if Goodbye Love, you could just flip the damn album over and rewind and get back to Groove Me. You know, you don't have to listen to My Business. You can let My Business play. That's why it's a perfect ending song. However, with Janet Jackson, with Funny How Time Flies, people let Funny How Time Flies play. And it's I mentioned this a lot. That song being there is the reason why so many people who produced and like flip songs and became producers used to use that song because it stuck with them because of the tempo and the placement of it and the tone of the vocals, everything. And the other song that does the same thing for similar reasons, and also crazy because you realize it's the first song that they did for the album, is He Doesn't Even Know That I'm Alive. Right?
Yeah.
But like when people used to like sample off the Guy album, nobody was flipping My Business.
Nah.
I never heard of My Business flip. I should like call somebody like, hey, yo, you ever thought of flipping My Business on the Guy album? What? My Business.
And you know what?
I got it.
Yeah. So yeah. So
Even if I did like the song, which I don't, but regardless, it's forgettable. Maybe that's better.
You know, and honestly,
I'll pull back some of the vitriol, but it's forgettable.
You know what I like about it, honestly, the what I like about it, because it's not Timmy's vocals at all. I like Aaron's backgrounds on it. That's what really I love about it.
JR will like a raggedy fuck shit song just because it has great.
We got a lot of damn nerve. As bad as the songs that we like, are you serious?
No, but you do that a lot. So I'll be like, JR, I don't understand why you like that. And I'll be like,
oh yeah. Yeah, you're right. I'm gonna bring it in. You're right. I do like some raggedy ass.
Because he'll like the background.
I try to find the good in something.
Yeah, or he won't like the vocal, but he'll like the vocal arrangement, and so therefore then he's like, "Why are you criticizing the song?" I'm like, "You just said yourself that the vocal is bad." But you want to hold on to this one little piece of the song, and then act like I'm being mean.
It is weird. It is weird to me
because you know why, dog? Because I was like, when we was like going back and forth, and she was like, "Business is whack," and I was like, "No." And she was like, and I'm trying to explain myself. She don't even want to hear it. So I said, I'm going to explain myself on this show so people don't know why I like it. I like it because of the background. Aaron's background on it, I love.
I feel like My Business, Aaron kind of felt like he had to save the song.
Yeah.
Like, especially when you hear the end of it, it's like, all right, I'm going to pull this song out of the mediocrity, out of the muck and mire, and I'm going to, when this album ends, you ain't going to feel like this song wasting my damn time. So Aaron was like, let me pull this shit out the muck, like when what's his name? Luke Skywalker pulled his X-Wing fighter when he crashed it on Tatooine or whatever the hell. Like, that's almost what he did with the damn song.
You just putting the needle right in my size right now. He like, because he like, no, it's not a bad song, but the mediocrity of the song.
Yeah. It does sound like they needed to finish the album.
Yeah.
JR, may the force be with you.
That's cute. That's real cute. That's real. But that ain't my favorite is Spend the Night. I love that record. Like, I love the production of Spend the Night. Like, I don't like the video version of it at all. That they could save that. I didn't like it at all.
Why did they do that?
I don't know, but I think that was common back then though, those days. It was like people was doing video versions and album versions. And video version, album. And I was like, why don't you just do the regular? Like, I didn't get it. It
was a big thing in '89. It happened with Dougie Fresh and the Get Fresh crew dropped the Zero, Get With the Hero. They had the video version of that. Round and Round, Merry Go Round of Love. There's a video version for that. Like, it's interesting that, like, they felt that, all right, we need to give a remix version of this because we want to make it feel like not the album, because the album came out when it came out. So we're going to update it because it's been so long since you heard the original version. And I guess that's kind of what happened. Like Crucial, right? When Crucial finally had a single, but here's the difference with Crucial though. It had been so long since the album came out, they've been on tour, got off tour, and when Crucial comes out, it's almost like Jelly Bean was like, all right, I'm gonna show y'all a preview of what the fuck we doing on the Janet album.
Yes.
So the Crucial dance version sounds like kind of like The Knowledge.
Yeah.
So it's you're like, right. Oh, wait till you hear what Flight Time got for your ass, coming up. You know what I'm saying? We're going to smack that ass in the 8-9 and 9-0 and beyond. And that's pretty much what they did. And we already talked about the dance routines and the sequences, and the battle.
Yeah. The beef of dance. The beef, quote unquote, the beef.
Yeah. But of course, there's the other beef guy in New Edition.
Yeah.
Which was
I get so confused with that beef. Cause I mean, why was they clashing though? Like
it was the cruise, It was like the cruise, they're on tour, They're both the up and coming acts. You know, basically the Star Maker tour was really, you know, the Heartbreak tour. The Heartbreak tour was the Star Maker tour, but it didn't turn out to be the Star Maker tour in the way I'll Be Sure would like for it to be. It ended up the Star Maker tour in the sense that Bobby Brown ascended, you know.
Yeah.
And Al was just like, oh, I better get in the studio and write. And all the guys in New Edition were like, hey, so if that's what Bobby can do, what can we do on our own? So that tour became a springboard. And I think guys saw that and they were just like, these dudes is just generating income and revenue everywhere they go and making hits. And I know Teddy was like, yeah, I'm finna do that. You know, and Aaron was like, I'm finna become a star any way possible. And meanwhile, he looks over at Damien, and Damien's just like jumping over his own legs and shit, you know? So, and then Timmy Gatlin's off doing album covers, you know, looking like he got new money. You know, it's what it is. But that first guy album, man, it's a landmark.
Classic for sure. Classic for sure. Classic for sure. Uh-oh.
Then.
Uh-oh.
What?
Go on, because my favorite part of the show.
I wasn't about to do that.
Oh, all right, my bad.
You got to say your favorite song on the album. I was going to say mine besides Teddy's Jam. Like, that's just, like, I wouldn't even discuss that. That's over in this own little
you don't
special.
Yeah.
But I like the single. I like. It's it sounds and I don't know. It kind of sounds, I don't know, but it's just the smoothest about it. I don't get sick of hearing it. But again, you know, I like, you know, grooves. I like mid tempos.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Oh yeah. I wanted to ask you, Doc. This is another question. Goodbye Love. And what nobody said. Do you really think what's his name said dumb bitch?
Okay, this is one of the greatest questions ever asked in Black music.
Yes.
Because what it did was it made everybody gather around the speakers, hold the headphones at the train station, at the bus stop, go to other people's cribs, put their ears next to the damn speaker and try to hear it.
Yes.
And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I don't hear it. I hear something that sounds like it could be construed that way. I don't hear him say dumb bitch. If you want to go about and be a dumb diddy dumb bitch, well, go ahead, baby. It became part of Black lore when Grand Poopa said that and Slow Down.
Yeah.
And then when AJ, she was on Different Worlds comedian, went on tour that dum dum da dum da dum dum da ho. I'm like, wait, did they for real say that? So I'm going to my speaker doing the same thing like, I know they didn't say dum dum da dum 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 da ho. And like, I know, did he say dumb bitch? Like, I don't hear it. But it ends up being part of Black lore and part of like urban legend. So people heard it, it happened, you know, even if it didn't. Because in a lot of with creative music, like the creative field, it's the man who shot Liberty Balance. If you have the fact and the legend, you print the legend, because that's what lives forever, right? So I listen, I don't hear it, but other people heard it and it spread, and now everybody, when they hear it now, they're like, there it is.
That was, and I also feel like it was a smart promo move, because if, like you said, it wasn't a single, so you had to go buy the album to listen to it. So that was that. I always put that like the Fugees' Killing Me Softly. That was not a single. It wasn't a single at all. So you had to go buy the album with the score to hear that. So I always put that dumb bitch, because honestly, I'm like you, dog. I don't hear it. I don't know what they hear. It's been so many times I'm like, what? I got my phone near to my ear, out of my headphones. I don't hear it.
Because of the lore of it, I never not hear it. I always hear it, but it's because it's in my brain,
Yeah,
and
in Black culture.
and because it's such a fucking trifling song, I wouldn't put it past him.
That's true.
And
That's
because
true.
it's Aaron Hall, I
That's
would
the other
definitely
part.
not put it past him.
That's true.
Or all
That's
them
true.
other two niggas either. I wouldn't put that past him.
Aaron is trifling, so I wouldn't. That's why I'm like, could it?
If he came back and said, yes, I did say that, I'd be like, I knew it all along.
Oh man.
Oh God. Oh man. Oh.
So
Okay.
now it's time for my favorite part of the show. Cause it ain't over. The part's
It
not
ain't
How
over.
much would you like to be?
I thought you were me. Teddy.
You did.
So we're gonna start off first, which will kind of continue the conversation a little bit more. First word or album, what first comes to your mind about the future?
Ooh.
Late.
Ooh.
I think the future came out anywhere between 3 to 6 months too late. And I think that the timing of when the future album comes out ultimately is the undoing of Guy. Because when you listen to the run of Guy, the album run of Guy, the trajectory of the album, it was limited because it was basically a stopgap. The future album was a stopgap in what Teddy Riley was going to do next and what Aaron Hall was going to do next.
Yeah.
And it was also a moment in time where it was like, the hammer's gonna drop in R&B again. And y'all ain't gonna be able to come out and do what you did the last time. And it happened. Once that Mary J. Blige album dropped, that SWV album dropped, that Jade album dropped, that TLC album dropped,
Shit changed.
shit changed.
Yeah.
And I just don't see a third Guy album underneath those circumstances. And I feel like the time to release a second Guy album would have been 3 to 6 months sooner, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the reason, and there was a third Guy album, but who remembers it?
Yeah,
You know
and
what
that was
I'm
until 2000 anyway. And then,
Yeah.
and with the future, it was November when that came out, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I know it was, yeah, I know it was like fall, winter-ish time.
It bled into 1991. And then by like the time 1991 was over and we're into 1992, like, can you imagine a Guy album dropping between 92 and 93?
Ooh, no.
That was Jodeci's time.
Ooh,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
No.
Like,
Mm-mm.
like I literally, like, the second Guy album, The Future, is like, I remember it, I own it, have it on CD, played it, Total Control, Do Me Right, D.O.G. Me Out, the video version, all
Oh,
of
I
that.
love the video version.
Wanna
too.
Get With You.
Dog Me Out.
Yes,
Yeah.
Get With You. Oh my God, Get With You, the video, that shit was like, that shit was a movie.
Yes.
How many more light-skinned women do we need in leather raincoats? Put them in the video. Like,
And that album has 7 singles.
So, okay, so Doc, do you feel like Timmy was missing from the writing?
I feel like Timmy was definitely missing from the writing because I feel that second album was very indulgent on the part of Teddy to try to prove to people that he was the songwriter.
Yep.
And also to try to be like, fuck you, Gene. Like, that album was pretty much like, you know what it's like, there's a comedy routine, you know, the fuck 'em dress. You know, I feel like that album was that for Gene Griffin and also for everybody who said that we need Timmy Gatton. And that kind of as funky and fun and jams on that album, I feel as though that is what the album is more than anything else, right? And also, I feel like when it came out, was just like, it came out, it had its run, it's over. 92, 93 comes out. I ain't thinking about another Guy album. And honestly, I feel like everybody who was in Guy was just like, we need to do some other shit.
Yeah. That's why Teddy was like, I'm gonna go and get Blackstreet. Bye.
and then one of the songs on The Future that I think is very well written is because Keith Sweat was in the room too writing, and that's Let's Chill.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean,
yes, absolutely.
I think that's a good song lyrically. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's a phenomenal song lyrically. The video is perfect. When it was released, was right there in the sweet spot. But it's over for Guy.
Yeah.
Think about what single dropped on The Future, and you kind of already know what's over for Guy. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. I agree with that. It's like it's old, but wait a minute, because that was the second single, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wasn't it the third?
Oh, could have
been. DOG Me Out. DOG Me Out was out before Let's Chill, right?
It could have been.
DOG Me Out came out in the summer.
Oh.
So wait, is Get With You?
That's like the third or fourth single.
So when's Do Me Right?
When Do Me Right come out?
After Let's Chill.
That's a lot of damn singles now that I think about it.
In the spring.
That's a lot of singles because
Wanna Get With You came out before the album.
We were just into 1991 when Do Me Right, the video comes out, because like it has all the elements of like the 1991 videos that used to piss me off.
Oh, Elite talks about 90s videos so bad.
Like I was there and I thought they were bad then.
People are bathing in milk. They got the multicolored backgrounds. They have the see-through umbrellas, the polka dot dresses, the
columns not holding nothing up, just Roman columns.
And the fly girls dancing in it.
Lots of silk in wind machines.
Yes. What was that about? 1990 and 1991. What was that about? Okay, there's a group called YS Effect. They have a single called I Wanna Be Your Lover. That is a very early 90s video. Christopher Williams is, of course, in the video doing vocals. It's a very early 90s video. I hate everything about it. Everything about it because of that. I'm looking at this video, I'm like, I promise you, I said this to my younger brother. We're sitting there watching BT, just got cable, watching BT, and I looked at my brother and I said, I can't wait for this damn era of videos to be over. I'm 16 years old. And I said that to my little brother. I can't wait for this damn era of videos to be over. I hated it, every second of it. I love Eddie D and the Boys. The video for Now That We Found Love, why? The dancing in the dancing in the suit, in the rain, and the outfits.
Yeah, shout out to Greg Glover, yo. He killed in that, yo. Yes.
The Do Me Right video.
We being nice because that's our friend.
It's like, this is a quintessential 1991 video. Everything about this. I hate all of this shit. All of it. Love the song. Love everybody in it. Hate all the elements of the video. Hate the aesthetic. All of it.
90 videos was not great. That's just what they were.
Yeah. I mean, and then the other singles were after DOG Me Out was Her, Teddy's Jam 2, and Let's Stay Together.
Her. Yeah. I always forget about that song. But on the album, I don't forget about it on the album, but I forget about it being a single.
Yeah, I didn't know it was a single either.
Got to get with her. Want to be with her. Bam, bam. Got to get with you. Want to be with you. Like, man.
Like you said, you could tell that Teddy was like, I'm going to prove to everybody that it's all me. And that's what that was. That's what the Future album was. And to
That's why-
Dog Dean.
That's why he felt the need to rap on New Jack Swing.
Oh, Lord Jesus. No. Mm-mm. I ain't like his rap on I Want to Get With You. It was like, boy, what? But it was a hit. I mean,
Yeah,
hey,
it was a hit.
I mean,
Yeah, I don't like the rapping on most New Jack Swing era songs, so there's also that.
uh-oh.
I wonder,
No matter who it is,
did
even if it's an
Mark Keller-
actual rapper.
the Mark Keller A+ right there. This is a good question.
What? Which song? Wait,
Like the rhymes. I know it was somebody from Rex and Effect that wrote them damn rhymes.
oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell
It
yeah.
had to be.
Yes.
Think of the cadence. It had to, the flow. Yeah. It had to be.
But then
absolutely.
later he had Pharrell do that,
Yeah.
So when we talk about Teddy Riley, right? The thing we also have to mention briefly is Teddy Riley has the greatest mentees / apprentices probably in that era of music history, right? He has Redhead Kingpin.
Yeah.
He has he has a guy. He has Che Pope. Che Pope, who's also known as like Che Guevara, did a lot of work with the Refugee All Stars. He actually is the guy who produced No No No. Did a lot of work with Lauryn Hill, did a lot of work with a whole bunch of other people, ended up like being the head of Kanye West record label. He had Pharrell Williams.
Mm-hmm.
So like when you think about all the work that they did under the sweatshop that is Teddy Riley, when it emerged from GR Productions after getting from under Gene Griffin, it's a lot, man. It's a lot. And I believe he had one more. He had one more protege after that, maybe Bank. But yeah, man, so Teddy Riley had some amazing proteges, did some iconic work, made some classic albums, and this is like the album that springboarded him into all of it.
Yeah. So my next one actually is going to be Teddy Riley, but I was going to say post guy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, post first iteration of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so I'm gonna skip over that because we talk about Teddy enough.
Yeah. Oh,
and then so my next one is gonna be Aaron Hall, post guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you think of, or what song you think of?
When I think of Aaron Hall post guy, I think of like his lasting influence on R&B and R&B vocalists, period, that I don't really feel he gets the credit for. But single vocal performance, aside from guest appearances, I Miss You.
The scariest video when I was a kid.
Yes. Yes. That video is like a Korean pop video.
It's so melodramatic.
It's so melodramatic. But like that vocal performance, I miss you, girl, I miss you, baby. That's the one thing that like sticks out. He did a lot of shit like that, but that's the one thing that stands out, right?
Okay.
Dart throws so many daggers on the low. Like, you gotta catch him, y'all. You gotta catch him.
Dart be throwing darts.
Yes, he throws darts like a real.
I love it.
Oh God. I'm sorry.
So see, I think all of our word associations we did like we ended up getting to because I was gonna put Timmy in there, but we really went in depth with him.
Yeah.
And then let's see what else is on my list. And we
You're not gonna say you're in effect mode, dude.
No, because we talked about that too.
Good.
So aggy. Oh. Very angry dude.
I can't with him. Because that voice ain't his, yo.
Does anybody even remember anything off of that 2000 Guy album?
I don't. I remember the cover because it was the color was like, what was it like?
It was blue. Yeah,
Shiny.
That's the one thing I remember about Guy 3. And I remember the album
shiny
cover,
denim. The shiny denim.
And shiny denim.
it was
Like
dancing.
that's all I remember.
I like
What?
dancing, and then I remember the video
It had 2
that he did
singles.
for Why You Gotta Keep Me From My Baby.
That was the other single, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
and I just remember the video.
But I don't remember those songs. I can't even think of the melody or anything.
I remember the Guy reunion song that they did for the New York Undercover.
New York
soundtrack.
Undercover, yeah.
Tell me
yeah.
what you like, baby.
I do remember that, and only because it was on New York Undercover.
Yes,
Yep.
I remember they showed like part of the performance in the episode, and then I remember everybody wanted to hear the damn song. So like you would hear it blaring out of Walkmans, but like that shit lasted for a month. Dead ass. And nobody asks about the Guy reunion anymore. You know?
They sure didn't.
So what month did New Jack City soundtrack come out?
Like
Was it
February?
the summer?
February? No, like February and March. February, I think.
Mm.
Because that's when the movie
Then the
came out.
future, they should have released the future a few months after this. Then
See, them New Jack City, New Jack City.
especially with them being in the movie, you know what I'm saying? They should have rolled that
Everybody
wave.
was jamming to that shit.
Yeah.
Because when I was reading up, they was recording the album in '90s, so I don't understand why it came out so late. They should have jumped on the momentum of this.
I think they had the issues with the court case with Gene Griffin, and I think that's kind of what held stuff up because they were
Yeah.
trying to get out from under Gene.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that was the issue. But again, I feel like that album was a little late.
Yeah. Just
Yeah. Man, if they could have at least rode the wave of this, maybe one song would have crossed over. Who knows? I mean, who knows? But yeah.
You took me somewhere when you talk about albums being late. Ugh. Because you know what album I'm talking about that was late, and I wish it would have came out earlier. Bobby's
Yes.
third album. I wish it would have came out earlier because it would have got the love that it should have gotten. But this dude gonna come after Dangerous
Yeah.
and after Mary, like
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
no.
Ultimately, I feel like the album, I think it's funny because I feel like that album is unfortunately 2 million selling away from being regarded the way it should be.
Yeah.
But it's said that like the only reason why it's not regarded the way it should be is because his first album was so much of a monster, right? It's kind of how it's kind of like what happened to Michael Jackson after he released Thriller, and kind of what happened to Prince after he released Purple Rain, right? Because Prince, difference with Prince being is that the albums he released after Purple Rain were superior to Purple Rain, but they just didn't do as well, you know?
Right.
But
right.
with Michael Jackson, it was that I don't think anything's gonna top off the wall, but no one's gonna look at the album he makes after Thriller the same way, no matter what's on there. Because as much as Bad, I didn't give Bad the time of day I should have because I was a super Prince fan and Prince had put out Sign of the Times.
Oh,
When
yeah.
I break down Bad, you know how many fucking singles are on Bad? You know how many
Night.
jams are on Bad?
Yeah.
You know how much like Liberian Girls on Bad? And like if you were to rank stuff like where is Liberian Girl like on Bad, you're like, damn. And that's kind of what happened with Bobby. When you look at that album should be regarded as more of a work as it is. But the thing is that when it came out, kind of flavors, you know, it got overshadowed by so much other stuff.
Yeah.
And when you think Bobby was the biggest thing besides Prince and Michael Jackson at one point. And the only other person bigger than him wasn't even a dude, it was Janet.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
So it was like Bobby knocked Every Rose Has Its Thorn off the top of the pop charts.
Yes, he did.
When you knock
Yes, he
a
did.
power ballad from a white rock group off the top of the pop charts with a song that's blacker than playing Big Whist while smoking menthol cigarettes. That is something that all of us need to acknowledge. And like Bobby Brown and New Edition should be in like Black history books just for that alone. The fact that they hit the top of the charts with the blackest songs imaginable.
Yep.
My Prerogative and Poison. Like, how are you going to be knocking off the whitest, poppest songs imaginable with the... Really? Anyways. I'm sorry.
I think that's a good place to end it. I love that.
Yeah, boom. He just
That's
dropped the mic.
So let us know anything. Let people know how to find you, and if you got anything new down the pipeline, because you always do, because you don't sleep.
Yeah, so I'm on Twitter at Dart_Adams, Instagram Dart_Adams. I'm not on Instagram that much because they act like I'm a bot, and Instagram's got weird. You could find me.
Well, we know.
Yeah, right now. I recently, August 1st, it was announced that my upcoming book is dropping. It's going to be called. Oh wow. Let me actually it's a long title, so let me say the whole thing.
It's like a Tribe Called Quest. You gotta say the whole.
Yes,
thing.
you got to say the whole thing. So it's called Instead We Became Evil, right? A tale of perseverance, and so it's this book. So the book is written by me and a man named Sleeman. The story is that Sleeman is a stateless Palestinian who left a war-torn country with his family as a refugee, comes to Germany with his family, doesn't know anyone in Germany. So they leave and they go to a place where they actually know some people. And they end up going to Denmark. So don't speak the language. So they show up in Denmark from Lebanon, which they just fled, as Palestinians. They couldn't be citizens of Lebanon being Palestinian. They can't be citizens of Denmark as Palestinians. They move into one of the most infamous housing developments, and across the river is another housing development. And who lives there? People who immigrated from the Middle East. And this man's story is insane. He ends up in gangs. He ends up dealing with racism, prejudice, being a first-generation immigrant, being thrust into a new culture because he's Muslim, then having to deal with the street life. So he's in 3 different worlds. He's in the world of the street, he's in the world of the school, and he's in his home where it's a Muslim upbringing. However, when you go outside, all those lessons that your parents are trying to teach you who can't speak the language pale in comparison to what you're learning on the streets. So you have to click up and get in gangs in order to survive on the streets because there's nothing but gangs out here in Denmark. And he ends up doing so many amazing things. He drops out of school, ends up becoming a gang leader, a gang member, gets out of the gang, ends up becoming one of the most famous Dutch-speaking rappers on the planet. His name is Sleeman. So I end up lucking into this project. I get the original manuscript, which was in Dutch, translated to English. Then I go back and forth with Sleeman and we rewrite it and we update it and we try to make it applicable to the North American market. But it's a universal story because growing up as a kid, we had, the Great Migration, and we had our families that came up from the South, and we were in the wilderness of the North. And then we have all the immigrant families that live around, and first and second generation kids that have to grow up in the street and they have their things at home. You know, you have what's going on at home. Your parents don't really understand what's going on. You have to be the mediator, the translator for them at home. All that shit that happened that I saw growing up, I read in this man's story, except he had it even rougher because he grew up Muslim, and he came up during a time where they were just throwing rocks and just, you know, being terrible to everybody. And he went through some shit that I couldn't imagine, I couldn't have fathomed surviving and living through. And I had to help him tell his story. So that book is coming out April 5th, 2022, through Kingston Imperial and Penguin Random House. And yeah, it's an amazing, we turned in the book. I read it from time to time, and I marvel at the fact that he survived all that stuff, and that when y'all read this book, y'all's gonna be like, I don't even have words.
Wow. I'm in. I'm in.
You had me at hello.
You ain't okay. Wow.
That sounds really dope. I'm excited about that. See, April 2022.
Yeah.
Yes. Instead, we became evil, a true story of survival and perseverance. That's the full title. And it got that full title because after we finished it, it was like, yo, I got hit up, was like, we need more to this title because this story is so big that we need people to understand what's happening when they read it. So when we're going through it, I'm going back and forth with Sleeman and also the publisher, and I'm trying to explain where my mind is. And I'm like, to me, this story is a mix between Down These Mean Streets, the book by Perry Thomas, which is one of the most influential books in my life, and pretty much every book you could imagine by a rapper talking about their hard upbringing and their life. But it's a unique spin that it's a dude who grew up Muslim as an immigrant and a refugee growing up in a foreign environment where he can't be a citizen, and he's one of the most famous people in Denmark. Like, he's been one of the most famous people in Denmark since he was a teenager. He's been in the trades. He's been in the gossip rags since he was a young teenager because he's that infamous, right? And he turned his life around, became an artist, did speaking engagements, worked in film. If you go on YouTube and put in SLEIMAN music, you will see video after video and hear song after song after song. And they have 1 million, million plus, 3 million, 5 million, 10 million views. And it's like, I never heard of this man, but he's super popular in Europe, super famous around the world. In Europe, he was infamous in Europe before he turned the age of 18. And nobody in North America knows who he is, damn near. And I just wanted to help him tell the story. So that's it.
I'm looking forward to that. Like, for real.
I am.
I'm like,
man, we can pre-order this.
Yes, you can pre-order it. Matter of fact, you can go right to the Penguin Random House website, and all the information about the book is right there. Instead, we became evil, a true story of survival and perseverance. The cover's up and everything.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
Yes. All right.
Find it on Amazon. You can find it everywhere.
Yes. On Amazon. But but yeah, we thank you again for hanging out with us. This was mad fun, as we knew it would be.
Yeah, no problem. As soon as you said, hey, we're thinking about having you back on, I'm like, absolutely. He's like, we think about talking about the Guy album. I was like, oh, definitely. I was gonna pour this out. I already knew. I went straight to the crates and I pulled this out. It's been out there.
Yeah, when I sent Dart the message, not only did he say absolutely, it was in all caps and a period.
Yes.
Because I was like, is he gonna come back on? And she was like, bro, he said absolutely. In caps. I was like, oh, okay.
I was like, oh, he might like us a little bit.
This is one of my favorite subjects to speak about, man.
Yes.
The book that's coming out would have been a different book had things been different. But after this book comes out and the next book comes out, we're gonna see the book that y'all should have got in 2019. That's all I'm gonna say. And when we announce the next book, y'all gonna be like, he's doing what now? That's all I'm gonna say.
See, y'all, he don't sleep at all.
This is the new edition court case of them getting their name back.
God.
I pulled this out just to show them.
We appreciate it
You see that?
because I remember you mentioned it in the first. So John was like, he's like, really?
Yeah.
John always be real skeptical about stuff, but in my head, I was like, damn right, he got that shit. I'm not surprised at all.
He bugged me out because I didn't know he had it. And he was like, oh yeah, it's real. It's real.
It's real in these streets. But yes, we thank everybody for tuning in and make sure to look out for Dart's upcoming book. And we will catch y'all on the next episode of Catch That. Peace.